are Gathering of the Geeks, podcast and YouTube show built around the things we as geeks all love. Hashtag we gather on Sundays. Thank you for checking out the one where CGI matters. Or does it? I'm one of your hosts, Emmett, and I'm joined by the Tad Lasso to my coach beard, Chris Evans. Chris, how are you?
It is a fine Sunday evening.
Yeah. And we are joined by, as you see right here, Zeddy from the Vigilante 1939. Zeddy, what's happening, buddy?
Oh, I'm happy to be here with you guys as always. So does that make me the coach Nate to you guys?
Well, no, because last in season 2 you were Nate, but then Nate took the heel turn. So then I was maybe thinking Higgins. I don't know. It's a tough one. He could be a Higgins. He's got the glasses. What do you think, Chris?
Sure. Buy that.
I mean, or we could just stick with like season 1 Nate, maybe.
Season 1 Nate, the happy one.
Yeah, season 1 Nate. I was gonna say like Roy would be the go-to, but I'd say Aaron is our Roy.
Very good, very good.
And of course, Nico has become Keely.
Keely, yeah.
Nice.
Gathering of the Geeks is available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. Just search Gathering of the Geeks and you will find us. What's up, everybody in the comments? Cookie, how's it going on this fine Sunday evening? Phil, what's happening? Grabs, Eric, Bolly Rock. How are you guys doing on this fine Sunday WrestleMania evening? Zeddy, explain yourself. Is your mic really big or is your head really small?
Look, puberty hits everybody differently, man. Okay, you just know. You know what? I got a new chair, so I'm adjusting. By the way, don't worry. The mic is big, but my head's not as big as the mic.
I actually never noticed that till the comment.
It's right there too. You know, you can see.
I've never paid attention to that.
You can see the fluff on the microphone and everything.
I'm a very busy person, you know.
Yeah, we know that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So it's WrestleMania weekend. We've kind of got that in our little sub screen here. So I hope everybody who's watching is also enjoying WrestleMania. But what else did you guys get up to this week? Zeddy, how about you, man? What'd you watch? What'd you read?
Well, man, this is a loaded question for me, as you guys always know. So I'll just get what I read out of the way because that's not a whole lot, unfortunately. But I've officially caught up with Superman Space Age Book 3. So I've officially read all of them. Loved it. If you're a Silver Age fan of Superman, it's just wonderful. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So go get all 3 if you haven't read it. It's incredible. And then I did start Joshua Williamson Superman 1 because I know you were high on that, Emmett. And that was that's probably as pretty close to Superman the animated series and comics as you're probably gonna get. You know, especially if you're in the action comics. I think Superman 1 on the Williams side of things is a good divergent to that too. So go check that out as well. As far as what I watched, that's a whole lot. So on the TV side, pretty much all caught up with Ted Lasso episode 3, Mandalorian episode 5, Superman and Lois episode 3, Yellow Jackets episode 2. I watched the Succession premiere, and I've binged The Night Agent on Netflix and Daisy Jones and the Six. And then on the movie side,
Zeddy, it would have been quicker to ask what you didn't watch.
What I didn't watch, that's nothing. Movies, I just saw Dungeons and Dragons, and then I saw Air last night. So that's it.
Well, what do you want to focus on there? I mean, you did mention a lot, so tell us a little bit more about something.
Okay, so I'll start off with the movie since that's probably the quickest that I can get through. Dungeons and Dragons, if you are a fantasy fan and just a fantasy action adventure, I would highly recommend Dungeons and Dragons. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was a really fun time. Actually, it's kind of one of those like you just go to the movies to have a fun time. That's what that movie is. You know, especially if you're a hardcore fan of Dungeons and Dragons, I think it services everybody a lot. You know, it's more funnier than I thought, so it's kind of a crowd pleaser. Chris Pine is great. Everybody else kind of knows of the movie that they're in. So go give that a watch. If you're kind of hesitant, I would recommend it. The one that I really want to talk about is Air. Because I know you guys knew that I was really anticipating it. Ben Affleck directed it, and it's the best movie I've seen this year. I can't praise that movie enough. It's just a good old-fashioned studio crowd pleaser. It has everything that you look for in a movie. It's so well directed. It's so well made. It's such an 80s movie, too, so a lot of like 80s music is in there. Ben Affleck really does a great job at just showcasing the 80s time period, but especially for me, if somebody's not too familiar, it just tells a story of how the brand of Nike kind of came up with the Air Jordan shoe. And Michael Jordan isn't in the movie. They kind of bypass actually showing him, but he's still a large part. He's like the anchor of the story. But especially as me, I'm a Chicago native. To see like so much emphasis.
I was gonna ask.
Yeah, put on Michael Jordan and like Matt Damon, I think gives like a career best performance. I mean, like his monologue at the ending, I thought was just terrific. The way that he like talks about Michael Jordan and how he would one day go to be the greatest athlete in the world, essentially. At least that's what us Chicagoans definitely feel like. So just I can't praise that movie enough. So definitely go check out Air if you haven't.
Do you think that it's interesting for someone who, or would be interesting for someone who doesn't know anything about sneakers or care about sneakers?
Or sports too, I wonder.
Yeah, so that's a great question, because to me it's like one of those, like, it's a sports movie without actually being a sports movie.
Like I think about Moneyball.
Yeah, kind of like it is a little bit like Moneyball too, and there is a lot of like business talk surrounding like the brand of Nike, but they do a really good job at just like it's just a well-made movie that's like the conversations are interesting, it's funny, it's like I think Affleck does a great job at like just making it accessible. I think that's kind of the best way that I can put it. Like it's not like if you're not into sports, I think you can still watch Okay, well, everybody needs to breathe, so I don't know why you'd be anti-air.
Not everybody. Darth Vader doesn't breathe. Or whatever that is. I guess
you caught me. But yeah, highly recommend it.
I do want to go back to Dungeons and Dragons for a minute, Chris. For me personally, this movie was like, I don't care. And I'm wondering if other people are going to care as well. But, Zeddy kind of said, good time at the movies, kind of just family friendly. Did you say that Zeddy is a family friendly?
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the Dungeons and Dragons movie?
I'm excited to check it out. I just haven't had time. I haven't even seen John Wick yet, but I was thinking I might end up seeing Dungeons and Dragons instead of John Wick, which I know I might get sacrificed for saying so. But I think it's because it's something I don't know about. Whereas John Wick, I kind of understand it's going to be the raid with Keanu Reeves,
sure,
which is not a bad time at all. I'm not saying that, but I really like the Dungeons and Dragons kind of stuff, medieval, Lord of the Rings things. That's in my wheelhouse.
Nice. Yeah, I was hoping to see John Wick as well, because I went to see Scream with my daughter, and then I think John Wick came out the week after, and I was hoping to see that, and then I didn't get to see that, and now Mario comes out next week, so then I probably won't see John Wick either. And I think I agree with you about that as well, Chris, about the idea of if you have to choose between a movie and another movie, you choose the one that's maybe a little bit different, other than, like you said, what John Wick is going to be, but you don't really know what the Dungeons and Dragons movie is going to be. That's an interesting idea.
Yeah, because I just haven't had the time to go see everything I want. So if I'm picking and choosing, that's where I'm at. And like you, I'm pretty sure I'm going to see Mario this week. I think my daughter's waiting for it. So
yeah. It's like if there was a time travel machine, we wouldn't go back in time and make ourselves millions and millions of dollars. We'd go forward just so we can see Mario. Like we are just dying to see this movie. So
nothing else, just Mario.
Exactly, just Mario.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be in that group, but I applaud those who are.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Chris, what else? What'd you get up to this week?
This week was a pretty quiet week for me. I didn't really watch much. I watched the Succession premiere, which I was pretty happy about. I have some thoughts about that, but I think they're spoilers, so I'll keep them to myself. I enjoyed that, though. I watched Ted Lasso, which, again, I think every episode this season has been a hit. I think they've really been killing it episode to episode. Which I know we're not far in, but still, I like it.
Sure.
I enjoyed that, and I watched Gotham Knights.
Dun, dun, dun.
I did.
Well, don't. The suspense is killing us.
Really?
I want to hear what you thought of Gotham Knights.
Do?
Of course, I do.
I mean,
we do. Of course, we do.
I don't know how to stretch that any further, but I liked it.
I
actually thought that it's kind of fun. It's not the Gotham we know, but it's familiar enough. Like you do have Harvey Dent. He's kind of like a different Harvey. I think so. He's like a kind of gentler Harvey, which we don't get too often. And the idea of Bruce having this new kid it makes more sense when you watch it because there is no Dick Grayson in this universe. it's only been this kid, from my understanding.
Mm-hmm.
So it works, and he has a similar setup to where the kid's parents die, like they tend to do with Bruce around.
Sure.
And he becomes his guardian, and that's what it is. I will say the supporting cast is just weird. It's odd. It's odd pairings. The Joker's daughter, Stephanie Brown, and you do have Carrie Kelly, but it's not the Carrie Kelly we've known before.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'm gonna keep watching it. I don't hate it. I think it's a decent time. Plus, I really love Elseworld stories, and that's another reason I'm giving it a shot, because I'll watch I'll watch an animated Elseworld story like I did last night. I'll read an Elseworld story. So, just give it a shot. It is very CW like, I will say that. But.
Yeah.
Just want to say hey to Chris from Lost in Comics and Mr. C as well. Chris, so you said Elseworlds. Is this not in the Batwoman,
No.
Flash, Green Arrow universe?
No.
Okay.
This is its own universe, which on paper is even stranger.
Yeah.
Because you would think they'd want it all in one, but because of what it is, it has to be separate, I suppose.
Interesting.
I mean, Bruce is dead. Like I want to say it's the first 5 minutes. You don't even see him from the front. You don't even know this Bruce Wayne. And he has a really cool Batcave.
Oh yeah, that's always good.
His Batcave is pretty cool. Batwoman's Batcave wasn't too bad. It was a cave, but it also looked like a very cheap cave. This one is more expensive. It kind of looks like if Ben Affleck's Batcave were larger. That's what it looks like. So cool.
Wow.
And that you only watched the one episode.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to the other ones though.
Okay.
I can't imagine it goes too much downhill. It's not like the show is. It's no Ted Lasso or Succession, but it's fun. yeah. Don't get me wrong. It's no Succession, but it's fun, and fun is all you need sometimes.
That's true.
And circling back, I also love Zava.
Yeah, I definitely want. So Gotham Knights, I'm very surprised that you like that, Chris. Like, I couldn't be more surprised.
That's a pleasant surprise.
But I'm still expecting you to be, drive off the cliff and realize that it's probably one of the worst pieces of DC that is possible, which is possible and maybe not possible. Who knows what's going to happen? As for Ted Lasso season 4, I'm definitely waiting until the end of the season before I kind of really give or really think about my whole thoughts. But because every episode, much like the entire season or series so far, I think they're going to go one way and they go a completely different direction. Yeah, exactly. Very good. Because Chris and I kind of talked about the storyline that's in, I think it's episode 4. There's only 4 episodes of Lasso so far.
Yes. No.
Yeah,
3.
okay.
3?
I think it's 3.
3.
Yeah. So the storyline that kind of is coming to fruition at the end of episode 3 is something that is very different from what I was expecting the show to take, with Colin and Ted, Trent Krim coming around, and even the Zava stuff is surprising me in a certain way. So I'm very interested to see how it's going to go, and see what happens, because I'm very interested in, this is going to be the last season, so I'm interested to see how they kind of wrap up some stuff. Yeah, it's a very interesting season. I agree with Chris. I'm enjoying it, but I think it's just going to be very interesting how they finish the season and the series on the whole. I think it's going to be very interesting.
Seems like Zava's a hit or miss though for people. Like Grabs does not like him. Cookie and Chris like him. I like him a lot.
I was very worried about Zava and where they were going to take him, because I was worried it was going to be Jamie 2.0. And it obviously is nothing like that. And they actually showed us more of Jamie and why Jamie is upset, and all of that stuff, which I think is very interesting.
Yeah, I think it's heading into an interesting direction. Not unique, but interesting. Because I'm sure this is a story we've seen before, we're going to see again. Which is cool with me. But I also agree with Chris here that Jamie will be being an MVP. I think that's what we're heading toward.
Yeah.
How do you mean the MVP? How do you mean? Like the person we like the most in the season?
No, like the top player.
Oh, okay. MVP of the team.
The team. Gotcha,
yeah,
gotcha.
I'm pretty sure he's gonna best Zava. Because Zava is a character. He's not a person. You know?
That's for
I mean, not in the sense of it's a TV series. You get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I get you. Well, and I was expecting his character to come in conflict with the Colin character a little bit somehow.
I was too.
I was expecting we need to dislike Zava. We need him not to be on the team anymore.
I think it's coming next episode.
Okay. All right. That's good.
But until then, he's cool in my book.
Doing his crazy meditating in the corner, all that jazz.
Love it. It reminds me of, because I've said this show reminds me a lot of the Major League movies.
Yeah.
What's his name? Oh, what's that guy's name?
I can't remember his name, but there was a character who was very similar, who also meditated in the corner. He even had like a voodoo doll or something in the second
Pedro Serrano.
Yeah,
Pedro Serrano. Yeah. That's right. He had the shrunken head and everything.
Yeah, I think his name was Jobu or something.
Yeah, Jobu. That's right.
That's what Ted Lasso reminds me of, Major League, but in episodic form, and Ted Lasso.
Major League, but soccer.
Yeah, there you go.
Jobu. That's it, Cookie.
Jobu.
Rab said he kicked in a goal that was already going in. I hate him. Yeah, I thought it was a doll, not just a shrunken head.
It could be. I wasn't sure. Like a voodoo doll?
Yeah, I think he had like a doll that was named Jobu. Right.
Jobu, yeah. I just know him and the Japanese guy were doing the
marbles
thing.
He ain't got no marbles. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Outstanding.
We need some of that on Ted Lasso.
Yeah, that's right.
I think that was probably the highlight of my week as well. I also rewatched Dracula the 31 version because it's wonderful.
Getting ready for Renfield?
I am getting ready for Renfield. I also did something with our buddy Phil Walsh too.
Nice.
And I watched the Batman: The Doom That Came to Gotham last night.
I've been interested about reading the book of that.
I want to read the book now. So I enjoyed the animated version. I thought it was really cool. And it has some unexpected twists and stuff that I was not expecting. Because I don't know the story at all. I had no idea going into it.
Yeah, same.
And so when I watched it, and it's very different. It's set in the 20s. Bruce has been sailing around the world, basically. And there's just a lot of different things going on in it. And it ends in a place you wouldn't expect either, which I don't want to spoil that at all because you will not see it coming. And if you do, please tell me how.
So like Gotham by Gaslight, like that sort of thing?
No, it's a lot stranger than that because more horror focused.
Okay.
Like there's one, like it has Etrigan the Demon, for example. Which we don't often see Etrigan unless it's something pretty heavy.
Yeah.
So that was cool. I'd recommend it's like on this, not a streamer, but you could rent it and stuff.
Yeah, the comic's only 3 issues too.
Yeah, the movie is, typical length. It's about 70-ish minutes. So like that. It's a quick watch. Really cool animation, great voice cast. The guy from Grimm does the voice for Bruce, which I thought worked really well.
Nice.
What Grimm?
The show Grimm, the TV series. Elizabeth Tulloch's also from that show, which I didn't know until the other night.
Yeah.
There you go.
You have no idea what Grimm is, do you?
No idea what you're talking about.
I imagine you're Googling it right now. I can't see, but I think that's what you're doing.
Well, I was Googling Batman: The Doom That Came to Gotham, but the only thing I think about from Grimm is the comic book.
No, it's like a show where he fights monsters.
Who does? Oh.
Grimm.
Oh, he's a detective.
Yeah.
Portland detective, descending from a long line of warriors known as Grimms, defends his city from
Grimm fairy tales. That's what it is. He hunts down like evil Pinocchio and stuff.
Get out of town.
I think there was evil Pinocchio. I'm guessing. I didn't watch all of it.
Holy cow! It aired for 6 seasons.
The guy's actually married to Elizabeth Tulloch in real life.
That would explain the photos of them together I saw. I just assumed
explains it.
I just thought they were really good friends that hang out still. Like they made, they made a bond on set, and they're like, "Hey, we're always going to be friends."
Why are these two always hanging out together? They're at the same
friends.
house. They're in the same room all the time.
I just assumed. I don't know.
They're
That's
really
cool.
good friends.
Should check that book out then.
It also explains how she's aged in pictures, and he. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Moving on. Batman: The Doom That Came to Gotham.
Nice.
Good watch. I enjoyed it.
Nice. Yeah, their animation rarely misses, so that's good.
Yeah, it was good.
Nice.
Do you know if the animation is like the comic or not?
She was in the wedding dress in one of those photos, but I didn't think anything of it. She was in a white dress in one of the photos. That may have been a wedding dress, and I didn't pay attention.
She's wearing a white dress. I'm going to a party.
No, I don't think. I don't think the animation is similar to the comic, because I think the comic is drawn by. It looks kind of like Hellboy, so maybe it's Mike Mignola.
That's just the covers.
Oh, is it? Okay.
No, he just does the covers. Is it just like the DC animation style that they?
Yeah, it looks kind of like Long Halloween, sort of.
Okay.
Like that style. The bat suit looks really cool too.
Zeddy, did you watch that too?
No, I did not. So this is pretty cool news to me. Nice.
I liked it.
Cool.
Chris, did you read anything this week? Anything new or old?
All I read was the last Vampire Slayer issues.
It's still good.
Vampire Slayer.
Are you still enjoying it?
Not as much, but yeah, it'll pick up again. I hope.
Oh.
So I read 3 before, and I read another 3, and 2 of the 3 are pretty bizarre. Like, they fight a monster made out of pasta. He's got like a devil's head, and his body is made out of pasta.
Oh, the head's not like a meatball or nothing like that. It's actual like pasta.
No, but he has meatballs in like his stomach area.
Well, that's just bizarre.
I'm trying to picture that.
Which are
I was going to say, where's the visualization here?
The meatballs are eggs that he places into women, so they could have devil pasta babies.
Sounds like an Ari Aster movie.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
Sounds like an A24 horror comic.
Bring Florence Pugh to this.
What?
And Toni Collette, get them both.
Yeah, just everyone from all of her movies.
Yeah,
all of his movies.
Just everyone. Get Joaquin Phoenix as the pasta devil. That would be cool, though. Just saying.
Yeah. Wait a second. Chris has an idea.
Pastafarians beware. Yeah, do not eat pasta for a couple weeks. You never know.
Nice. All right. So I read a couple of things this week, a couple of first issues. Ambassadors from Mark Millar and Frank Quietly, and then the Indigo Children from Image as well. I can't remember the writer artist. I'm going to double check that. They were the ones who did It's Only a Teenage Wasteland, Chris. You had liked that one initially. Anyway, I can't find the name right now. And both of them were hyped up pretty heavily. Image number ones usually are. And I would like to say that they are both good. Indigo Children, I think specifically, is in it for the long game. And Ambassadors is actually interesting because it's got a new artist every single issue, which is kind of a different thing, telling the same story, but different artists on every issue. So those are both interesting. The first one, I'm jumping back and forth, but Indigo Children's nice because it's got a spy thriller nature to it, mixed in with some science fiction aspects of it, which is something that's very interesting to me. 69. I don't know. That was something last show as well for some reason. I'm not sure. That seems to be a thing. The other thing that I finally read off my shelf, and I have it in my background there, is Suicide Squad Blaze. The hardcover for that came out, I think, late last year, if I remember correctly. DC Black Label, written by Simon Spurrier, drawn by Aaron Campbell, and colored by Jordi Belair. 3-issue series, DC Black Label. It's very, very, very good. One of the best looking books that I own. Specifically DC Black Label stuff, the extra large pages and everything. So it's the Suicide Squad goes on a mission with some other criminals who have been given superpowers, but the superpowers they're given gives them a life of only 3 months. And if one of the team members dies, they get their powers, but then their lifespan is reduced by a month or a certain amount of things. And they're hunting, or they're after a villain that's been like body snatching people. That's very, cool. Very interesting story. And by the end of the story, it's actually very sad. Spoiler alert: the Justice League is murdered. So that's very cool.
Those guys have a tendency to get murdered, don't they?
Wow, yeah.
Exactly. So the Suicide Squad, the squad's got Harley, Boomerang, King Shark.
It's like the game.
One of them.
I was gonna say it sounds like the game.
It sounds like the game.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. They took the best characters from like the Suicide Squad movies and then the game coming out, which is cool. And Amanda Waller, everything we liked about Amanda Waller in the Suicide Squad and even Suicide Squad, where she was like terrifying. You were actually scared of this woman.
That's Waller.
And that's the way she is. The way that I always knew her was more of she was scary, but like I was actually scared of her. Something about those movies made me scared of her.
Viola Davis
wanting to kill kids and all that kind of stuff.
I think putting a real person's face to it is like
that definitely helps.
Yeah.
So the Amanda Waller in Blaze is like that as well. Very scary. So it's a very good book. I recommend that for any DC Black Label fans out there. It's another thing about the Suicide Squad. I've got coming in my next shipment from my comic shop is Suicide Squad Get the Joker or Get Joker.
Yeah.
Written by Brian Azzarello and art by Alex Maleev or Maleev.
He did great work on a Moon Knight book, just saying.
That's great. Yeah, so I've got that one coming as well. Just a little bit more Suicide Squad in my life as well. I've been trying to read a little bit about. Yeah, so that's what I read this week. And what I watched is kind of something about the topic of the week that I wanted to talk about as well, guys. I watched Avatar: Way of Water this week. I watched it at home. I think it was on digital just on Monday.
Yeah.
If I remember that correctly, Zeddy. I know you had saw it with Nico from V39, and you guys were, I don't want to say underwhelmed. Maybe you can just give me your, I don't know if you've watched it again since that first time. But say, what were your overall thoughts on Way of Water?
Yeah, so it's kind of a tricky story because the first time that I did see it with Nico, and then we saw it with a good friend of ours. We just saw it in standard Dolby Cinema, and it looked kind of choppy. Like it didn't look as great in my humble opinion. And then I saw it with my dad in 3D, and I kind of understood like, okay, this actually does look better than what I saw it.
Mm-hmm.
But my overall thoughts on the movie is I still don't like that it was just 3-hour epic event. I thought it was a little too self-indulgent that James Cameron needed to make, a 3-hour Avatar movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think some themes he kind of glossed over a little bit too. Like I don't think it all really makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Call it a hot take, call me crazy, but I actually think the first movie looked a lot better than this one. But I don't know. What did you think? Because you saw it now, so.
Well, Chris, you were the one who said, I'm not watching this. I don't want to watch this. I don't care about Avatar.
Oh, wow.
I had talked to you about it. And I did suggest that you should watch it. But as the movie had come out and you saw other people's kind of reactions to the movie as well, what were your any changing thoughts about Way of Water?
No, just not going to watch.
There was some convincing reviews that I had read, and people had told me like, you should just try it.
Yes,
I was not one of them.
No. But I was like, okay, well, maybe I will like it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I will get to it. But if I don't see it in theaters, I will not watch it, most likely, because if I'm going to see it, I want to see it the way it was meant to be shown. And also, I just don't want to watch it. I mean, at the end of the day, I have no interest in it. I understand it's a big deal for people, and that's cool. It's not for me. Also, I now hate James Cameron and Avatar because I believe they're preventing Bailey Bass from being in Interview with the Vampire Season 2. Right. So to hell with Pandora.
Totally. Okay, so I'm generally quite the big James Cameron fan.
Yeah.
I do like all of his movies that he makes. He makes hits, nonstop hits. That's all he makes is hits.
Yes.
I liked Avatar when I first saw it. I saw it in theaters, and then I saw it afterwards a number of times. And then over the years, it's been a number of years, I kind of became bored of the movie. And that kind of relates to my idea about this movie as well. I liked it. It was good. I had, again, it's over 3 hours. I basically had 3 hours to waste one day before work, where I said I don't care if I don't see this movie, but I'd like to see it more or less because of as Chris likes to say, for science. I just like to be able to experience the movie and be able to talk about it and then know that I've seen it. Okay, so I saw it and I did like it. But then I had this idea about visual effects in movies. Zeddy, you think that the first one looks better, that's fine. And I thought to myself, this movie it looks so good. It's incredible how real it looks. And then I thought to myself, well, if something looks real, is that a big deal? Like if CGI is so good that you don't see it, does that mean that either does that mean anything? Like I'm thinking about some of the best CGI that I've seen. You know that it's CGI. Like in Way of Water, yes, the people are blue and they're aliens or whatever, but they look real. Everything about them looks real. Under the water looks real. The creatures that they're riding, all of that stuff, it looks real. But does that lower my how much I like the movie because I don't notice that stuff, because it's not like, wow, look at that, because it just feels normal to me, but how real it looks. Zeddy, do you have any thoughts about that the movie it almost looks too good, that you're not like, wow, because you're like the expectation about it? It's something I thought about. I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a good question that I actually think is starting to percolate a little bit more now too. Actually, like I think it's more of an ongoing topic now. Like I think I've kind of mentioned it too as of late too, that I think we're running into the idea that I think there's almost too much over reliance on CGI now. Like I know you guys probably know this. I know probably a lot of your audience knows. I'm more of a practical, like visual effects guy. I love my CGI. Don't get me wrong. I'm a comic book guy. Like I love CGI. But I think like when we go back to like, we've seen Avatar and we've seen Ant-Man, both one movie everybody really loved and the other kind of like got, critically panned a little bit. I don't think CGI had anything really to do with it, but I think CGI needs to go back to being like this epic spectacle that it once was. I think, I like the idea, like you made up the point, like I love Batman Begins because that movie feels so real. Like I feel like Batman could just show up in Chicago and everything about that movie feels real. I watch a movie like Twister, and the way that they recreated the Twisters in that movie. I watch something like Terminator, and like the way that the Terminators look in that movie feel very real, right? And then you watch like a lot of these comic book movies now, and it's like you're just watching like a splash page on the big screen. I think the first movie that made Avatar so appealing was that, you're right, it was never done before. That was something that you never saw before. James Cameron utilized technology that had never been used before, right? And then he took all these years to do the sequel, and it's like I kind of saw that before, right? So I think now it's the idea that you can still do CGI in a way that we've accustomed to, but I think you need to kind of make it more of an event, I would say. Like, I don't know that answers it, but
yeah, that's okay. There is no answer because I don't really know what my question is, but it's just the idea, Chris, about an over reliance on CGI, where basically Avatar is 99% computer generated, whereas there's the odd human aspect in the movie. But is there at a certain point where you don't care about the CGI, where it's either it looks bad, it looks good? What are you thinking about CGI lately?
Before we get to that, I want to go through some of the comments. Grab says CGI should support story. The story is all that matters. We all love comics, and the pictures don't move. CGI doesn't make a movie good or bad. That's a good point. Phil will take the practical effects over CGI. Lauren says your room is one giant green screen.
I was going to say, good thing I have things behind me, or you guys could put some weird things behind me.
Your room is a little green screen, Emmet.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Yeah. Eric agrees with Grabs. So does Chris. Bill says George Lucas, special effects is a tool, a means of telling a story. A special effect without a story is a pretty boring thing.
That's a great point.
Lauren says there are films I love that have shit CGI, but great story, plot, characters. Good CGI doesn't make a great film, just gives a film certain good moments. I also prefer practical effects over CGI pretty much any day. but I also appreciate CGI more when I don't I don't have the wow factor, like when it's just there. Kind of like when I watch Guardians of the Galaxy and I'm looking at Rocket, I'm not thinking that's a CGI raccoon. I'm saying, oh, Rocket's there.
Right.
You know what I mean? That to me is the best kind of CGI, because I think when it stands out one way or the other, it's taking me out of the movie. And like going to Shazam 2, the dragon looks fantastic in that movie, but it doesn't take me out because like, oh, there's a dragon in the city. That's awesome. You know, compared to something like when we watch House of Dragon, and some of those effects were not as pretty. And I was like, I wish they just wouldn't have done this.
That's an interesting thought. Okay, so you want CGI that you don't notice, right?
Right. I like it when I don't immediately notice.
So that was my thing about Way of Water, where you don't notice it, even though you should notice it. And that's kind of my weird thing about it. It's like I want to know that something that I'm seeing that should be fake, it looks fake. It's a weird thing that I don't want my CGI to be perfect. I don't know if that's it.
So you want Jar Jar Binks every time?
Well, and that's what I'm thinking about. Like, so I'm thinking about the prequel series.
Use a Jar Jar
Star Wars. You know, that again, 99% of that movie is basically CGI, or of those movies of the prequel series. But you can notice it, like you can know that the Gungans and anyone,
the water bubbles and stuff.
Exactly. So I think it's an interesting idea about there being both, about CGI being so good that you don't notice it, but you know that it's CGI. I don't know. It's a weird thing. I'm trying to think of other big CGI films that are like that, where 99% of the movie is CGI, but you can't tell or you can tell. Do you guys have any idea about that? Like I'm thinking about like Sucker Punch, like a movie that's a lot of CGI, or I don't know. What do you guys think about other CGI filled movies where you don't notice it as much, and if you do notice it, if that's an issue? I don't know.
Just to comment on this real quick, I would like to see Henry Cavill's mustache in a movie, but it'd be animated so that depending on his mood, the character's mood, it curls or uncurls. I think that'd be fun.
It's like Jim Carrey's mustache in Sonic.
Yes, something like that. CGI to me, like I put Guardians of the Galaxy in that category because I think that there's nothing like wowing. Is that word wowing? I think it is now.
Well, the second one too, especially like even the opening sequence with the tentacle thing.
Yeah, to me it just blends really well, so I'm cool with that. Or I mean, even look at the Batman, which is not exactly CGI, but there's a lot of different things going on. You never question that, hey, this isn't a real on set. This wasn't filmed on a set,
right?
Yeah.
Especially like when we know the majority of like the Times Square looking area was not real. Or when they're on the construction thing where the signal is, none of that is real. But you don't question it.
Yeah.
You guys think of any bad CGI in good movies that you're like? So we're talking about how the story is, key, and you use story to.
Roy has arrived.
Blend in. What's that, Chris?
Roy has arrived.
Yeah, hello, Roy. Any bad CGI in good movies that you can let go because the story is so good?
X-Men: Days of Future Past. Actually, all the X-Men movies, they have a horrible track record.
That's a good point.
Horrible. But the scene that always sticks out to me in Days of Future Past, and I love the movie, of course. It's X-Men, and it's X-Men. But there's a scene toward the end of the film where Magneto is levitating around a train that's carrying all the Sentinels. How they fit in trains, I don't know. But he's levitating around a train and he's getting metal into into them, and it looks like if in 1990 you ask somebody what is CGI going to look like in the future, that's what it would probably look like.
Definitely look like 80s CGI, that's for sure.
Right, it looks cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say I think for me it's like I don't want to watch an animated movie in live action. I want to watch a live action CGI movie, right? Like I think my thing is like I want to be able to distinct something from animated from CGI. Like I don't care if there's a lot of CGI, but when it looks too animated, that's when I kind of draw the line where I'm like, I could have just watched an animated movie if I wanted to watch this, right? Like and like all due respect,
like the Lion King.
Yeah. And that's a great example, right? Like when people are having debates whether or not something is animated or live action, I think that's a problem, right?
Mhm.
But when we're just critiquing if something just looks bad just because it looks bad, that's what it is. You can't perfect everything. But you like when you're deciding whether or not why I want to watch this because it looks bad, that's a problem.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Another one that I think is incredibly well done, where you can't tell, is the Planet of the Apes series.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah, those are great.
Like
Yeah.
they literally look like gorillas or monkeys
Mhm.
or whatever orangutan.
Yeah.
And in that sense, I think, if I compare it to Way of Water, it doesn't. I didn't think to myself, well, or I didn't think while I was after I watched it that it pulled me out of it in any way. And maybe that's because the Planet of the Apes story was much more engrossing than the Way of the Water one, where I was maybe because Way of Water, the story didn't hit with me in any way and the characters didn't hit with me, where all I was focused on was the visuals. And maybe that was my own issue. But again, with the movie's 99% visuals, it's hard not to be laser focused on it. That's all Cameron talked about for 10 years. And that was, this, that, and the other thing. So it was just hard for me specifically with Way of Water to separate the movie from the visuals. And with Planet of the Apes, it wasn't like that and specifically because of the characters who were, fake characters, but, Caesar, Koba, Rocket, Blue Eyes, all of them were real characters who aren't real characters, which I think is a very important thing. The characters.
Kind of like Optimus Prime in the Transformers films.
Yeah.
Well, those are another ones, like completely, they're all completely fake, right?
Yeah,
I think Bumblebee looks great. Yeah.
they're real in my heart.
No. Batman's real in my heart.
Yeah, Batman is not fake, guys.
No. So in other words, Emma, so did you like the movie because the CGI was really good, or did you like the movie because it was a good movie?
I think that's exactly it. I think if the CGI wasn't as good, if they couldn't do what it could do with those visuals, I don't think I would have liked the movie.
He's just in disguise.
I thought the story was pretty generic. Bad guy comes back, bad guy hunts good guy, and good guy, kind of sort of wins.
And they waste Bailey Bass.
And on to the next one. So I think without the visuals, which are so good, they're incredible. Like I said, the movie looks real. Like all of the visuals, I thought looked just incredible. I watched it on my TV. I watched it streaming, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it'll be a hard because the movie's 3 hours. I've watched other 3 hours before. I don't know another time I'll have to just put this one on and give it a watch. But I'm excited to see where they go because I want to see more of and that's the other thing. I want to see the stupid, crazy visuals. Like I want to see some stuff. Like apparently there's going to be fire Navi next time instead of water Navi. I want to see what that's going to look like, and that's my curiosity with James Cameron. I do want to see what he's going to do next, even though I didn't pay any money for this or anything like that, and I won't go pay money to see the third one in theater, anything like that. But I will be interested just to see what else they can do because it is aside from all that, the CGI these days and the stuff that they can do and the stuff that James Cameron did do with like the water volume. The water volume stage, all that kind of stuff, the stuff that the actors had to do, like literally they were underwater, fighting underwater, not breathing for, I can't remember how long Kate Winslet said she held her breath for.
Kate Winslet's in it?
Yeah, she is.
Yeah. I can't remember how long she said she held her breath, but it's kind of like the Mission Impossible thing. I just want to see what Tom Cruise is going to do next. I want to see what James Cameron is going to do next.
There's CGI in Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
Probably very little though.
Well, it's the missiles, like all the jet stuff,
okay.
like when they're firing missiles and everything. But and that goes to the point, like you'd hardly notice that because it looks and feels very
Shane
real.
McMahon.
It
Sorry.
is. And
Shane O'Mac.
And everything.
Oh my God.
Everything else is
Shane
real
O'Mac.
is real around the CGI. So I think that helps too in a lot of cases. Like when you have a bunch of human characters or human objects with a single CGI thing inserted, it works better too. You could think of like another like look at Yoda in the prequels.
Yeah.
Yoda looks fantastic, or Gollum, which is more, I think.
Yep.
I think Gollum is actually even better looking than Yoda.
Yeah.
Gollum looks you don't really question. Oh, that's a ugly creature walking around with him.
Well, much like Caesar, Gollum is a character. I think.
Right.
Yeah.
It certainly helps when fake things are real.
I miss Gollum.
Yeah, I do too.
Oh, precious.
He is precious. He's just wonderful.
Yeah, look at something like The Matrix too. That's very reliant on CGI.
And that's the CGI that doesn't look good either.
Mm-hmm.
Like the CGI with I picture the basketball courtyard fight with all of the Agent Smiths and Keanu and like they look fake. It looks fake. I get it, but it looks awesome because it's Keanu Reeves doing sweet ninja moves and all that kind of stuff, right? So
playing a video game.
I love being I like the idea of being okay with bad CGI because you accept it because you understand it. That's the time too, as well with the Matrix. They were pretty cutting edge, obviously, with everything at that time. And now watching it back, I'm okay with it. I like doing that too, watching good CGI from back then, and you're watching it now, and you compare it to the stuff that you've seen from now, and still being okay with it.
I agree.
Spider-Man also came to mind too. The first one. The CGI is not perfect, but the movie's
like
fantastic.
The web slinging scenes,
and some of the Goblin stuff. It's not very good, but it's
that first X-Men movie too. That kind of draws the line a little bit,
I think all the X-Men movies, unfortunately.
Yeah, but
except maybe Dark Phoenix. Dark Phoenix seemed to look better, which is interesting. After 19 years, they finally got it.
For the movie that it was, yeah.
Right. After 19 years, they finally got the CGI right. That's a tangent that nobody wants to see me go on.
Oh, why not?
Why not? Let them go.
Not now, anyway. Maybe later. Valley Rock says it's more James Gunn, but the CGI in Peacemaker was great. Eagly could have been really annoying if he wasn't done right. I agree with that too. That's even is it Sean? What is that guy's name? Sean Patrick?
Sean.
The T1000?
Oh,
yeah. Sean? Robert Patrick.
Robert Patrick. Okay. Who's Sean Patrick? Is that it?
I think you're thinking of Sean Gunn, his brother.
I was thinking Sean Patrick Flannery.
I think you're thinking of Jason Patrick from Sleepers.
There's a lot of Patricks. But no, I meant the T1000. His Devil Iron Man thing was cool looking too. I brought up earlier. Aaron said Superman Lois is great for the CGI that it has, and I agree with that too. The CGI looks really good in that show.
Yeah, it does.
Especially again, this season. Like Chris said, though, the band was a documentary, by the way.
Glorious documentary.
I think it's part of the issue people are having with Grogu. Cuteness only goes so far. Him not looking real when he walks now is taking away from the character. Yeah, I've kind of course, I haven't watched a lot of the season, but I did kind of get that feeling too. Like he looks much more fake now than he did in the first two seasons. I think because he's walking and things, and he's doing things on his own. He's up and
around, yeah.
Yeah, he's not just being held.
Right.
And we know that the Mandos act, that he's puppeteering him or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There was a different way to say it, but this is a family show. Says,
got his hand up his ass. Is that what you're talking about?
Something in that.
Him?
Yeah. Is this a family show? I don't know. It might be. Eric says Dark Phoenix, aka conning a movie studio into remake your own damn movie.
It's also true.
Don't know how that happened, but it did.
Oh, Fox.
Oh, Dark Phoenix.
Aren't you lucky to be bought by Disney now?
Probably not. We haven't seen anything yet, so we'll see.
No. What's the contract up? 2 years, right?
Something like that. We'll eventually get the Fox stuff.
Eventually.
Yeah.
I know, you might be getting some more Fox characters in Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
Deadpool 3, excuse me.
Yeah, I was going to say Deadpool 3. We'll see. I just got Wolverine. That's all I need.
I got a hush.
Did Sasha tell you that? Did your Steve Trevor tell you that?
Is that what your beloved Steve Trevor tell you to say?
Bill says overexposure of Grogu. Yeah. Grogu is a bit much now. He's still cute, but he's a bit much.
We're going to get to that, Chris, if you ever watch the season 3 of Mandalorian.
I will. I'll get to it.
If we'll do a season wrap, and we'll get into the Mandalorian.
Well, I think what we're going to end up doing is a Princess Bride podcast.
Oh, is that happening?
I think that's happening.
Oh, jeez.
That was suggested last week, and I've been marinating on it. I think we're doing it.
Gathering of the Brides?
That's so off-brand.
We don't have a brand. Last I checked.
Gathering of the Bride. There you go.
Yeah, Gathering of the Bride.
See,
Yeah, right.
It's weird that it'd just be me and Emmett talking, but still.
Yeah, it'd be. I don't know how. I don't. I don't even know how to go into that conversation about Princess Bride.
We're gonna watch it, then we're gonna do like an hour-long discussion.
It'll just be me and Sasha. I got you guys.
We
Be an interview. Yeah.
But I don't know. How are we gonna do that without Sasha there?
Oh, she'll be here. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll make it work. I think this is a Princess Bride joke, but I'm not sure.
It is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Cookie's fault, by the way. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe we should have her on with us.
We need somebody.
Like a moderator.
Yeah, we do need a moderator in this one. We need somebody to host that show.
We'll see how it goes. Well, we're doing that, by the way.
All right. Yeah. Put that in the schedule. Put that on the books, will you, Chris?
I'll put it on the books. The imaginary books that we have. It's check.
Nice.
So that's kind of some overall thoughts about CGI and a whole bunch of other stuff too. All right. Well, I don't have anything else that I wanted to talk about this week, guys. That was pretty much it. But the CGI thing has kind of been scratching my noodle. So anything else you guys want to talk about?
I have one question for you about Avatar.
All right.
Do you think people who have not seen it and aren't looking to see it, should they still watch it? Do you think it's worth a watch?
It's worth the watch. It's worth the experience. I think it is an experience. And my weird roundabout way of talking about the CGI, but it's still incredible CGI. It's still incredible to look at. I do think there are some interesting characters as well. But I do think it should be experienced.
Okay.
I agree with that.
It's such in a time where it feels like event movies are a reason to go to the theaters nowadays.
Yeah.
That's what people people tell me on Twitter, and Zeddy tells me all the time. That is a movie that you should see. I understand. If you don't want to spend money, that's totally your thing. But I'm glad I did see it. I'm glad I did see it, and I will see the other ones too. I won't pay for them, but I will see them.
As long as Avatar was 4 isn't 3 hours and 20 minutes.
He's got to cut it down for
help
sure.
Help yourself, Jimmy. Help yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Scorsese just announced what the Flowers. What is it called? Flowers in the Attic.
Flowers of the Moon. Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be like 4 hours long. So.
Oh, the Irishman was long.
Yeah, it's not like we won't watch a 4 hour movie. Like I have talked before. We watched Lord of the Rings, the 4 hour.
That's right. I don't care about time as well, but again, Way of Water could have been 2.5. Like there was some stuff they could have cut out for sure.
Yeah.
In that one.
I'll watch a 4 hour Top Gun Maverick movie, and that's just how the cookie crumbles. But
Yeah, exactly.
That's just me.
Aaron says, as a cinema worker, I want 20 Avatar sequels.
Oh.
Which, by the way, if you guys go to Aaron's Twitter right now, he's been building this Transformers Beast Wars thing for his theater. It looks so cool. Nice. I imagine it is not fun to build, but it looks awesome. So his efforts are worth it.
Cool.
So check that out if you haven't.
It's a big movie coming up.
I hear it is going to be big. I may see that. I may not. I'll see if James Cameron's involved. If he's not, then I'll watch it.
Yeah.
I don't think he's involved, but you might have Michael Bay involved in that one. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think the director that did Creed 2 actually directed that movie.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's his name?
Stephen
Cable
Stephen
Jr.,
Copeland. Cobble
Yeah.
Jr.
Something.
Yeah.
Something. Yeah.
Grab says, I'm not watching any 4 hour movie. I'm about ready to stop watching 3 hour movies. What about
Fair
Goodfellas?
enough. That's a good point.
How do you say no to Goodfellas? I understand.
Oppenheimer might be 3 hours too. So what do I
thought they said it is. Was that announced already?
I think Matt Damon said it is, but which might be the longest Christopher Nolan movie if I'm not mistaken.
Expecting 3:10 is what I'm thinking.
Oh boy. Everybody go see Oppenheimer as many times as you like.
Zeddy needs it. Zeddy needs a W.
Or you could all see the brisk 90-minute Barbie movie. It's up to you. I'm assuming it'll be 90 minutes.
Why would you want to go see this more lighthearted, fun, entertaining Barbie movie when you can see the atom bomb being created? It's a no-brainer. I mean, come on.
I mean, I get what you mean.
Exactly. Come on.
I'll see both.
That's right. I'll pay for all your tickets.
All two of them.
Oh, it's funny. I think everybody's just waiting to the previews, and then they're just gonna pile into the theater. I get it.
Yeah, that's what it is. They just don't want to sit with the trailers. You're right.
Oh, good stuff.
All right, boys, let's wrap her up here. Zeddy, where can people find you, my man?
Yeah, thank you guys as always. It's always a blast chatting with you guys, and I hope everybody in the chat. It's always great to talk to you guys as well. I hope everybody has a great week, and you guys can follow me on Twitter at McZennick, but I am most notably found on the Vigilante 1939 podcast. It's a weekly podcast where we talk all things DC, Marvel, Star Wars, and anything else going on in pop culture. So be on the lookout for a new episode dropping in your feed, most notably this Tuesday. So thank you guys.
Chris, what do you got going on?
You guys can follow me if that's your thing at thatchris70 on Twitter. You can also give the podcast I do with my buddies Phil Walsh and Anthony Caruso a follow. It's DC Unlimited Pod. We talk all things DC, and it's pretty fun. You could also, if you don't follow Phil Walsh already, you should. I've done a couple things with him, including a Scream review. Check that out at Phil at the Movies. And as always, I'd love it if you would follow this podcast at G of the Geeks on Twitter. Emmet is much better with the other plugs, and I'm running out of breath. I'll take over.
You can follow me on Twitter at EmmettDavis7. Gathering of the Geeks is available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Gathering of the Geeks and you will find us. Thanks to Phil, Cookie, Chris from Lost in Comics. Ian, you jumped in late, man. How's it going? Eric, Aaron, Phil, Bollyrock, Lauren, Cookie, I think I said. Yeah, Mr. Caruso, thanks so much for coming in. I thought just Travis here. Travis, thanks so much, Travis. Congratulations on your new baby boy, Oliver. Good, strong name. So thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Chris, I don't think we're going to have a show next Sunday. I'm going to announce it now. It's Easter Sunday next Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to be busy. So we won't see you next week, guys, but there is going to be stuff on our YouTube channel sometime this week. So you make sure you guys are subscribed. Let's see if we can get up to 69 subscribers. That'll make everybody happy. And saying all that for Zeddy, Chris, and I'm Emmet, and we gather on Sundays.
Have a good week, everybody.